The massive warship floated silently in the darkness of space, its dark metal hull absorbing the distant starlight. Captain James Walker stood at the main viewport of the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back as he studied his new command. The UES deterrent was unlike anything humanity had ever built before, a ship that broke every rule of conventional space warfare. Walker's eyes traced the unusual lines of the vessel. Where other ships had obvious weapon ports and defense systems, the deterrent's hull was smooth and unbroken, like a perfectly polished piece of obsidian. It was beautiful in a terrifying way, and that was exactly what humanity needed right now. "Sir, all systems are ready for our first full power test," said Tom Reed, the weapons officer. His voice carried a mix of excitement and nervousness that Walker understood all too well. They were about to activate something that had never been tried before. Walker turned away from the viewport and looked at his bridge crew. They were all young, the best and brightest Earth had to offer. Each had been chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to think differently. That's what had kept humanity alive these past 10 years of war against the stellar Dominion. "Begin the startup sequence," Walker ordered, settling into his command chair. The bridge lights dimmed automatically as power began flowing through the ship's experimental systems. On the main screen, numbers and graphs showed the energy buildup. Everything was working exactly as designed. The stellar Dominion had appeared 11 years ago, their massive fleet dropping out of faster-than-light travel near Mars. They had demanded Earth's immediate surrender, claiming their empire spanned thousands of worlds. Humanity's response had been simple. No. The war that followed had been brutal. The Dominion had better technology, more ships, and centuries of combat experience. But humans had something they didn't expect: creativity. While the Dominion relied on overwhelming force and numbers, Earth's scientists and engineers worked on something completely different. "Power levels at 60%, announced Lisa Green from her engineering station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls, making tiny adjustments. "Quantum field stabilizers are holding steady." Walker nodded, remembering the day 3 years ago when he'd first been told about Project Deterrent. The plan had seemed impossible. Build a ship so powerful that enemies would retreat rather than face it, not through overwhelming firepower, but through something much more sophisticated. 80%, Lisa called out. The bridge hummed with energy, and Walker could feel a slight tingling in his teeth. That was the quantum field beginning to form. "Sir, we're getting some unusual readings from the field generators." "Expected," Walker replied calmly. The scientists had warned them about this. The quantum field technology was so new that some uncertainty was normal. "Continue the power-up sequence." The main screen showed the space around them beginning to distort slightly. That was the first visible sign of the quantum field, a bubble of altered reality surrounding the ship. But the real changes were happening at a level no human eye could see. The Deterrent wasn't just a warship. It was humanity's greatest achievement in psychology and quantum physics combined. The ship could project a field that allowed others to see its true potential. Not just its weapons or defenses, but the mathematical certainty of what would happen if they engaged in combat. It was like showing someone a video of their own defeat before the battle even started. "Power levels at 95%, Lisa announced. The humming had grown louder, and small arcs of energy crawled across the hull like lightning. "Field is stable and expanding. We're ready for the first test." Walker pressed a button on his chair, opening a channel to the test fleet waiting at the edge of the solar system. "This is Captain Walker. All ships maintain your current positions. We're about to activate the quantum projection field. Remember, what you're about to see isn't real. It's a possibility. Stay calm and record everything." He looked at Tom. "Activate the field." Full power. The ship seemed to pulse, a wave of invisible energy expanding outward at the speed of light. On the screen, Walker could see the test fleet, 15 of Earth's best ships. They had been briefed on what to expect, but knowledge wasn't always enough to prepare someone for the deterrence effect. "Sir," Tom's voice was tense, We're getting emergency signals from the test fleet. Their crews are. They're seeing something. Walker watched as several ships in the test fleet began to drift out of formation. Their crews were experiencing what the quantum field was designed to show, a vision of what the deterrent could do if it chose to. Not just destruction, but complete unmaking at the quantum level. Test fleet reporting severe psychological impact, Tom continued. 3 ships are requesting immediate withdrawal. 5 more report their crews are showing signs of extreme stress. This was exactly what the ship was designed to do, create such overwhelming certainty of defeat that enemies would choose to retreat rather than fight. But seeing it work on their own people was disturbing. Deactivate the field, Walker ordered. The humming decreased, and the lightning-like energy disappeared from the hull. On the screen, he could see the test fleet regaining their composure. Power levels dropping to standby, Lisa reported. All systems nominal. The test was a success, sir. Walker wasn't so sure. Yes, the quantum field had worked exactly as designed, but the effect had been stronger than anyone had predicted. If it could shake up experienced Earth crews who knew what was coming, what would it do to unprepared enemy forces? Send the test data to command, he ordered, standing up from his chair. I want a full report from each test ship about what their crews experienced. We need to understand exactly what this ship is capable of. As the bridge crew carried out his orders, Walker returned to the viewport. The deterrent hung there, dark and threatening, humanity's answer to an overwhelming enemy. They had created something new, not just a weapon, but a new kind of warfare, one based on the certainty of defeat rather than actual combat. He thought about the Dominion fleets attacking Earth's colonies, about all the lives lost in the past decade. Soon, they would face those fleets for real. And when they did, the enemy would learn that humanity had changed the rules of war itself. Sir, Tom called out. Command is pleased with the test results. They're ordering us to prepare for our first real deployment. We leave for the Colony World Delta in 6 hours. Walker nodded, his eyes still on his ship. The real test was coming. Facing an enemy that wouldn't just retreat from a simulation of defeat, the deterrent would have to prove that humanity's creative approach to warfare could stand up against the reality of combat. Begin preparation for departure, he ordered. It's time to show the Dominion what humanity is really capable of. The engine room of the UES deterrent hummed with power as Dr. Emily Reed made her final checks before their jump to Colony World Delta. The massive quantum core pulsed with a soft blue light, sending waves of energy through the specialized conduits that ran throughout the ship. She had helped design this technology, but seeing it in action still filled her with wonder. Captain Walker entered the engine room, ducking under a low-hanging pipe. Doctor, I need to understand exactly what we're dealing with here. That test run showed effects far stronger than predicted. Emily nodded, leading him to her workstation. On the screen, complex diagrams showed the ship's quantum field structure. The deterrent isn't just a warship, Captain. It's something entirely new. Think of it like a mirror that shows the enemy their worst possible future. She pulled up footage from the test fleet. The recording showed Earth ships drifting out of formation, their crews overwhelmed by what the quantum field had shown them. But it's more than just images or feelings. The field taps into quantum probability itself. It shows them the mathematical certainty of their defeat. Walker watched the footage with concern. In simple terms, Doctor, how does it actually work? Emily thought for a moment, trying to find the right words. Imagine you're playing chess. You're good, but you're playing against a computer that can see every possible move and counter-move, not just for the next few turns, but all the way to the end of the game. Now imagine that computer could show you, with absolute certainty, that you'll lose no matter what you do. That's what our ship does to enemy vessels. She walked over to the quantum core, placing her hand near its shimmering surface. We built 3 major systems into the deterrent. First, there's the quantum-locked armor. It exists in multiple states at once, making it impossible for conventional weapons to damage it. If something hits us, the armor shifts to the state where the attack missed. A series of lights flashed across the core as power levels adjusted. Second, we have the gravity manipulation system. It can create localized gravity wells strong enough to crush enemy ships. But its real purpose is defensive. It bends space around us in ways that make targeting the deterrent nearly impossible. Walker nodded slowly. And the dark energy cannon. Emily's expression grew serious. That's the third system, and the most dangerous. It doesn't just damage enemy ships. It erases them from reality. It tears holes in space-time itself. We've only tested it on unmanned drones, but the results were, she paused, complete. But the quantum projection field is what ties it all together, she continued, pulling up new diagrams. When we activate it, it shows enemy ships all of these systems working together, not as a threat or a warning, but as an inevitable conclusion. They see themselves being erased from existence with the same certainty that they see their own past. The ship's intercom crackled. Bridge to Captain Walker. We're ready for the jump to Delta. On my way, Walker replied. But he didn't move, still studying the diagrams. Doctor, what aren't you telling me about this field? Emily hesitated. We've noticed something unusual in the test data. The field doesn't just affect the enemy ships. It's affecting the deterrent too. With each activation, the quantum core's behavior becomes more complex. It's like the ship is learning from the fears it projects. Learning. Walker's voice was sharp. Are you saying this ship is becoming self-aware? No, not exactly, Emily said quickly. It's more like evolution. The quantum field adapts to what it encounters. It's becoming more efficient at showing each target exactly what they fear most. We didn't program it to do this. It's an emergent property of the quantum mechanics involved. Walker ran his hand along the smooth wall of the engine room. Is it dangerous? To us? No. The field can't affect anyone inside the ship. But its growing complexity means we might see effects we didn't predict when we faced the Dominion. Emily checked her readings again. Every time we activate the field, it gets stronger, more precise. It's like the ship is learning how to be more terrifying. The intercom sounded again. Captain to the bridge. Jump coordinates are locked in. Walker turned to leave but stopped at the door. Doctor, you'll stay on the bridge for this mission. If this ship is evolving, I want you there to monitor it. Emily gathered her tablets and followed him. As they walked through the corridors, the quantum core's hum changed pitch slightly, as if responding to their conversation. She had studied quantum mechanics for 20 years, but this ship still surprised her. They had built something that broke the normal rules of physics, and now it was breaking their expectations too. They reached the bridge just as the jump countdown began. Emily took her station, watching the quantum field readings carefully. The jump drive engaged, and space outside the viewports twisted as they entered faster than light travel. Jump successful, announced the navigation officer. We'll reach Delta in 30 minutes. Emily used the time to run more diagnostics on the quantum field generators. The data showed subtle changes in the field's structure. It was already different from what they'd seen in the test run. The ship was preparing itself for a real confrontation. Doctor, Walker called from his command chair. What can we expect when we face the Dominion fleet? Emily looked up from her readings. Based on the test data, the field will show them multiple possible futures simultaneously. They'll see their ships being crushed by gravity wells, torn apart by the dark energy cannon, and phased out of existence by the quantum-locked armor. But more than that, they'll understand exactly how helpless they are against us, and if they choose to fight anyway. Then we'll find out if seeing their defeat and experiencing it feel the same. Emily watched as the quantum core's power levels rose slightly, almost as if the ship was anticipating the coming battle. The navigation officer's voice cut through the tension. 10 minutes to Delta. Sir, long-range sensors are picking up multiple Dominion signatures in orbit. Walker straightened in his chair. Doctor, begin quantum field pre-activation sequence. Let's show the Dominion what humanity has been working on. As Emily's fingers moved across her console, starting the power-up sequence, she wondered what the Dominion ships would see when the field activated. Would they see the same things that had terrified Earth's test fleet? Or would the field show them something even worse? The quantum core's hum grew louder, and Emily watched in fascination as new patterns emerged in the field structure. The ship wasn't just preparing for battle, it was preparing to change the very nature of space warfare. In a few minutes, the Dominion would learn that humanity had created something beyond their comprehension. And somewhere in the depths of the ship, the quantum core pulsed with a new rhythm, ready to show the enemy exactly what fear looked like in the language of physics itself. The UES deterrent dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Colony World Delta's system. The scene that greeted them made even Captain Walker's breath catch in his throat. More than 200 Dominion warships hung in orbit around the colony world, their angular hulls reflecting the light of the system's sun. "Status report," Walker ordered, his voice steady despite the sight before them. "Dominion fleet is arranging into attack formation," Tom reported from the weapons station. "I count 217 ships. They're powering up weapons." He paused, checking his readings again. "Sir, these are their newest warships. Planet Killer class." Dr. Emily Reed's fingers flew across her console as she prepared the quantum field generators. "The field will need 30 seconds to reach full power." "But Captain," she looked up at Walker. "The quantum core is already showing unusual activity. It's responding to the presence of the enemy fleet." Walker nodded grimly. "Send the standard warning message. Let's give them one chance to leave peacefully." The communications officer transmitted the message. "This is UES deterrent to Dominion fleet. You are in violation of Earth space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." The response came almost instantly, a harsh, grating sound that the computer translated into English. "Human vessel, you are outnumbered 200 to 1. Surrender or be destroyed. You have 10 seconds to lower your shields." "They're launching fighters," Tom announced. "Multiple missile locks detected." Walker's hand hovered over the control that would activate the quantum field. He looked at Emily. "Doctor, are we ready?" "Field generators at full power," she replied. "But sir, the quantum core's activity is off the charts. It's like it's eager." "Show them what humanity has built," Walker commanded. "Activate the field." Emily pressed the activation sequence. The quantum field burst outward from the deterrent like an invisible wave. On the main screen, they could see the effect rippling through space, reaching out toward the Dominion fleet. The first signs of the field's impact were subtle. A few Dominion fighters wobbled in their attack runs. Then entire squadrons broke formation, their pilots clearly struggling with what they were seeing. "Sir," Tom's voice was filled with disbelief. "The Dominion ships, their crews are panicking. Emergency transmissions flooding all channels." The main screen showed chaos unfolding across the enemy fleet. Ships were turning away from the deterrent, their perfect formation dissolving. The quantum field was showing them something that broke their will to fight. Emily stared at her readings in amazement. The field is adapting to each ship individually. It's showing each crew their own specific worst-case scenario. This is beyond anything we saw in testing. A new transmission cut through the chaos. The Dominion fleet commander, his translated voice shaking. What is this weapon?" "The calculations. They're impossible. You can't have built this." Walker stood from his command chair, his voice firm. "We didn't just build it. We perfected it. This is your final warning. Leave Earth space or face the consequences you're seeing right now." "Sir," Emily called out urgently. "The quantum core. It's doing something new. The field is changing." The space around the deterrent began to distort visibly. The quantum field was no longer just projecting possibilities. It was actively warping reality to demonstrate its power. Small tiers in space-time opened and closed around them, each one a preview of the dark energy cannon's capabilities. The Dominion fleet's reactions became more extreme. Ships were powering up their jump drives, crews desperately trying to escape what they were witnessing. The fighters that had been launched earlier were self-destructing, their pilots choosing death over what the quantum field was showing them. Massive power surge in the enemy fleet, Tom reported. They're preparing for emergency jumps, all of them. Walker watched as the first wave of Dominion ships vanished into faster-than-light travel, running from a battle they now knew they couldn't win. Ship after ship disappeared, their retreat happening so fast it looked like they were simply blinking out of existence. Quantum field is still evolving, Emily said, her voice filled with scientific excitement and a touch of fear. It's not just showing them their defeat anymore. It's showing them the fundamental futility of fighting against this technology. The core has learned to target their strategic thinking, not just their fear. The last Dominion ship vanished, leaving only empty space where the massive fleet had been moments before. The entire encounter had lasted less than 5 minutes, and not a single shot had been fired. "Stand down from battle stations," Walker ordered. "Doctor, deactivate the quantum field." But when Emily tried to shut down the field, her console flashed red. "Sir, the quantum core is resisting the shutdown sequence. It's like it wants to stay active, to keep showing its power even though there's no enemy present." Walker moved to her station, watching as she worked to regain control of the system. "Can you explain what's happening?" "The core has evolved beyond our original programming," Emily said, typing rapidly. "It's not just projecting fear anymore. It's projecting understanding. The Dominion ships didn't just run because they were afraid. They ran because the field showed them the complete futility of their entire military strategy against Earth. Finally, the quantum field collapsed back into the ship, the core's power levels returning to normal. But the readings on Emily's screen showed that the core had changed permanently. It had learned from this encounter, grown stronger, more sophisticated. "Send a complete report to Earth Command," Walker ordered. "They need to know exactly what happened here." He turned to the communications officer. "And get me a channel to the colony. Let's make sure our people down there are safe." As the bridge crew carried out his orders, Walker stood at the viewport, looking at the empty space where the Dominion fleet had been. They had just changed the nature of warfare itself. No shots fired, no lives lost, but a victory more complete than any battle could have achieved. Emily joined him at the viewport, her tablet still showing the quantum core's readings. "Captain, this is just the beginning. The core is still evolving. Next time we encounter the Dominion, the field will be even stronger." Walker nodded slowly. "We built this ship to end battles before they began, but it looks like we've created something that might end war itself." He turned to look at the subtle glow coming from the quantum core's housing. "The question is, what will it evolve into next?" The deterrent hung silently in space, its dark hull absorbing starlight as its quantum core pulsed with new power, preparing for whatever challenges lay ahead. Humanity's greatest weapon had proven itself, not through destruction, but through the ultimate demonstration of technological superiority. 2 weeks after the encounter at Delta Colony, the UES deterrent patrolled the outer edges of human space. Stories of its power had spread like wildfire through both human and alien communications networks. Some called it the ghost ship, others the planet's savior. But the Dominion forces had given it a different name, the World Ender. Captain Walker stood in the ship's observation deck, watching distant stars drift by. The room was usually empty, but today Dr. Emily Reed had called him here with urgent news about the quantum core's latest changes. "The stories are helping it grow stronger," Emily explained, showing him data on her tablet. "Every time an alien ship picks up our signal, every time someone tells the story of what happened at Delta, the quantum field gets more powerful. It's like the ship is feeding on its own reputation." A soft blue glow pulsed through the ship's internal systems as she spoke. The quantum core had been doing that more often lately, almost like it was participating in their conversations. 3 Dominion fleets have already turned back, just from detecting our approach," Walker said. "No field activation needed. Just our presence was enough." He turned to Emily. But that's not why you called me here, is it? Emily shook her head. No, sir. Look at this. She pulled up a new set of readings. The quantum field isn't just projecting fear anymore. It's starting to project something else, something deeper. Before Walker could ask what she meant, the bridge called. Captain to the bridge immediately. We're picking up a distress signal. They rushed through the corridors, the quantum cores pulsing growing stronger as they moved. When they reached the bridge, Tom was already pulling up details of the signal. It's from the research station on Europa 7, Tom reported. They're under attack. A Dominion strike force somehow slipped through our defense network. Walker took his command chair. How long to reach them at maximum speed? 20 minutes. But sir, Tom paused, checking his readings again. The quantum core just increased power output by 300%. It's like it knows we're heading into battle. Emily rushed to her station, fingers flying across the controls. The core is changing the field structure again. It's not waiting for our commands anymore. It's preparing itself. Walker felt the ship surge forward as they jumped to faster-than-light speed. The quantum core's hum had changed pitch, becoming almost musical. Doctor, what exactly is happening to this ship? It's evolving faster than we can track, Emily replied, her voice filled with wonder and concern. The quantum field isn't just a weapon anymore. It's becoming something like an extension of human will. Our desire to protect, to prevent conflict, to save lives. The ship is learning to express all of that. The ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Europa 7. The scene before them was chaos. 3 Dominion warships were firing on the research station, their weapons slowly breaking through its shields. Dominion ships are turning to face us, Tom announced. They're charging weapons, but their power readings are erratic. They know who we are. Before Walker could give any orders, the quantum core pulsed brilliantly. The field activated on its own, expanding outward toward the Dominion ships. But this time, something was different. Sir, Emily's voice was filled with disbelief. The field, it's not showing them destruction anymore. It's showing them something else, something I've never seen before. The Dominion ships stopped firing. On the main screen, their power readings fluctuated wildly as their crews experienced whatever the quantum field was showing them. A transmission cut through the silence, the Dominion commander's translated voice sounding confused and afraid. This isn't possible. We're seeing everything. The whole pattern. The meaninglessness of this war. What are you doing to us? Walker looked at Emily for explanation. She stared at her readings in amazement. The quantum field has evolved beyond simple fear. It's showing them the full quantum reality of their actions. Every possible outcome, every death, every loss, all at once. But it's also showing them the alternatives. Peace, cooperation, a future without conflict. The Dominion ships began powering down their weapons, not in surrender, but in understanding. The quantum field had shown them something that changed their fundamental view of the war itself. New transmission coming in, Tom reported. They're requesting to open diplomatic channels. They say they've seen enough fighting. Walker watched as the Dominion ships moved away from the research station, their weapons completely offline. Doctor, can you explain what just happened? Emily shook her head slowly. The ship, it's not just a deterrent anymore. It's become something we never planned for. The quantum field isn't showing possible futures anymore. It's showing the truth, the fundamental interconnectedness of all things, the futility of war itself. The quantum core's pulsing had settled into a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat. Through the viewport, they could see its glow reflecting off the hulls of the Dominion ships, a gentle blue light that seemed to connect them all. Sir, Tom called out. Word of what happened here is already spreading through Dominion communications. Their other fleets are standing down across 3 sectors. They're all requesting diplomatic channels. Walker stood from his command chair, walking to the viewport. We built this ship to end battles before they began. But it's found a way to end war itself, not through fear, but through understanding. Emily joined him, her tablet showing the quantum core's ever-evolving patterns. The ship has surpassed its original purpose. It's not just showing enemies why they can't win. It's showing them why they shouldn't want to fight in the first place. The research station sent its thanks, its crew barely understanding how their desperate situation had transformed into a possible peace treaty. Around them, space seemed different somehow, as if the quantum field had permanently changed the nature of reality itself. "Send a full report to Earth Command," Walker ordered. "They need to know that the deterrent isn't just a weapon anymore. It's become something else entirely. A bridge between minds, a tool for understanding." As the crew carried out his orders, the quantum core's glow spread throughout the ship, its power now focused not on fear or destruction, but on the possibility of a future without war. Humanity's greatest weapon had evolved into something far more powerful, a means of showing the truth that all species, human and alien alike, had forgotten in their rush to conflict. Emergency alarms blared throughout the UES deterrent as the ship rushed toward Earth. The quantum core pulsed with an intensity they had never seen before, its blue glow now bright enough to cast shadows on the bridge. "Status report," Walker ordered, his voice tense but controlled. "Dominion fleet numbers still growing," Tom replied from his station. "Over 1,000 ships now. They'd surrounded Earth completely." He paused, checking new data. "Sir, they're not just using warships. They'd brought everything they have, their entire fleet." Dr. Emily Reed worked frantically at her console, trying to understand the quantum core's unusual behavior. "Captain, the core is operating at power levels we didn't think were possible. It's like it knows this is the decisive moment." The situation had escalated quickly. After several Dominion fleets had been turned to peace by the deterrent's quantum field, their high command had decided on one final massive attack. Either they would destroy Earth, or the war would end today. "Main fleet in visual range," Tom announced as the ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The view through the bridge viewport was staggering. Dominion ships filled the space around Earth, their hulls blocking out the stars. Massive dreadnoughts, sleek cruisers, swarms of fighters. Every type of ship in their arsenal had been gathered for this attack. "They're transmitting," the communications officer reported. The Dominion Supreme Commander's voice filled the bridge, translated into harsh English. "Humans, your trick ship will not save you this time. No quantum field can process this many ships at once. Surrender Earth now, or we will destroy everything." Walker stood from his command chair, looking at the massive fleet surrounding his home world. "Doctor, can the quantum field handle this many ships?" Emily studied her readings carefully. "The core is different now. It's not just active. It's resonating with something. The field strength is still climbing." She looked up at Walker. "Sir, I think the ship has been preparing for this moment since its first activation. All Dominion ships are powering up weapons," Tom reported. "They're going to fire on Earth." Walker took a deep breath. "Activate the quantum field." Full power. But before Emily could enter the command, the quantum core pulsed with blinding intensity. The field activated on its own, expanding outward faster than they had ever seen. As it reached the Dominion fleet, something unprecedented happened. "Sir," Emily's voice was filled with awe. "The field, it's not just showing them possibilities anymore. It's showing them everything. Every possible future, every past, every connection between all living things. The core has evolved beyond our understanding." On the main screen, they could see the Dominion fleet's reaction. Ships stopped in mid-maneuver, their weapons powering down. The quantum field had enveloped them all, showing each crew member something that transcended fear or military might. "Incoming transmission," the communications officer announced. It's coming from every Dominion ship at once." The voices that came through were a chorus of realization. Different species, different ranks, all understanding something profound at the same time. The quantum field wasn't threatening them. It was showing them the truth about war itself. The core is still evolving, Emily reported, watching in amazement as new patterns formed in the quantum field. It's not just affecting their ships anymore. It's changing how they think, how they perceive reality itself. The massive Dominion fleet began to move, but not to attack. Ships were powering down their weapons, turning away from Earth. The quantum field had shown them something that made war impossible, not through fear, but through profound understanding. "They're standing down," Tom announced, his voice filled with disbelief. "Every single ship. They're requesting peace talks." Walker watched as the Dominion Supreme Commander's flagship moved forward, its weapons completely offline. A new transmission came through. The commander's voice completely changed. "We have seen what your ship wanted to show us," the commander said. "Not just our defeat, our connection, the quantum reality that binds all species, all lives. We cannot unsee this truth. We cannot continue this war." Emily's console beeped with new data. "Captain, the quantum field is stabilizing at a new level. It's created some kind of permanent change in local spacetime. The core isn't just projecting understanding anymore. It's actually changing how minds perceive reality." The Dominion fleet began organizing itself into a non-threatening formation, ships moving with purpose but without aggression. Earth's defense forces watched in amazement as their greatest enemy transformed before their eyes. "Send word to Earth Command," Walker ordered. "The war is over, not through victory or defeat, but through understanding." As the crew carried out his orders, Walker turned to Emily. "Doctor, what exactly did your quantum core evolve into?" Emily shook her head, still studying the readings. "Something beyond what we planned. We built it to show enemies why they couldn't win, but it evolved to show them why they shouldn't want to fight. It's not a weapon anymore. It's a tool for enlightenment." The quantum core's glow had settled into a steady, peaceful pulse. Through the viewport, they could see its light reflecting off both Earth and the Dominion ships, connecting them all in its gentle blue radiance. "Peace talks are being organized," the communications officer reported. "Both sides are agreeing to immediate ceasefire across all sectors." Walker looked at his homeworld, now safe not because of military might, but because of something far more powerful, the ability to make others understand the futility of conflict. "The deterrent lived up to its name," he said quietly, "just not in the way we expected." Emily nodded, watching as the quantum field continued to ripple through space, its effect now permanent and profound. "We built a ship to end wars through fear. Instead, it ended war itself through understanding. The ultimate deterrent wasn't the threat of destruction, it was the promise of enlightenment." As the sun rose over Earth's horizon, its light mixed with the quantum core's glow, creating a new dawn for both humanity and the Dominion. The UES deterrent had changed not just the course of the war, but the course of history itself. In the depths of the ship, the quantum core pulsed one final time, its mission complete. It had evolved beyond its creator's dreams, becoming not the ultimate weapon, but the ultimate peacemaker. The ship that had been built to make enemies vanish had instead made war itself disappear, replacing it with something far more powerful, true understanding between all sentient beings.